infertile, divorced, failure. Those words glowed across a 10-foot screen at my sister's wedding reception. 200 guests laughed. My father smiled and said, "Just a joke, sweetheart." My mother swirled her wine like she was watching dinner theater. And my sister, the bride, leaned into the microphone. "Don't laugh too hard. She might actually cry." I didn't cry. I picked up my phone, typed one word, begin, and the room went so silent you could hear ice crack in a glass. What happened next didn't just ruin the party. It dismantled 16 years of lies. To understand why, let me take you back. For weeks earlier, I was at my desk in Richmond, working late on courthouse renovation drawings. My phone lit up with a call from a nurse at Shenandoah Hills Care Center. She said my grandmother Ruth, the only person who ever made me feel like I belonged, was scheduled for hip surgery. She wanted to see me. But there was a condition. My father would only allow me to visit if I attended Paige's wedding. The nurse added one more warning. "They're planning something at the reception. About you. Be ready." I knew my family. If they were planning something, it wouldn't be kind. But Ruth was 84. She might not survive surgery. I couldn't risk never seeing her again. I agreed to go, but not blindly. If I was going to walk into that wedding, I couldn't rely on hope. I needed a plan. My grandmother's warning echoed in my head. "They're planning something at the reception. Be ready." 3 weeks before the ceremony, my father demanded a family dinner. Same house, same white columns, same performance of respectability. Nobody hugged me at the door. My mother looked me over and said, "You look thin. Are you eating?" Concern as a weapon, wrapped in a question. My father asked what I was doing with myself. When I said I worked at a design firm, he smirked, "Answering phones, I assume." Paige arrived late, flashing a 4-carat ring. She pulled me aside and whispered, "Wear something understated. Garrett's family is particular. You're still alone, right? No one." Then she smiled. My mother handed me a beige dress, shapeless and 2 sizes too big. "This will be perfect for you." My father added, "Don't embarrass us." But here's what they didn't know. I'd already discovered a connection. Garrett's mother, Eleanor Whitmore, chaired the Heritage Foundation. The same foundation funding a restoration project I'd been leading for 6 months. She knew my work, my designs, my name. She didn't know my face. If everything collapsed, I wasn't a stranger to the most powerful family in the room. Meanwhile, Marcus, my closest ally, found out the AV company running the reception was short-staffed. He applied as a freelance technician and got the job. That meant direct access to the projector and sound system. I prepared a simple slideshow, photos of my graduation, my architecture license, my award, my projects. No insults, just facts. Title slide, "The Real Thea Linden." On my phone, I typed one word, "Begin." If they fired the first shot, Marcus would swap their USB for mine in 3 seconds. If they kept it harmless, I'd never send it. I gave them one last chance to be decent. The reception hall glittered with chandeliers, white linen tables, and 200 guests sipping champagne. I sat at table 14, tucked in the back corner near the kitchen door, exactly where my father had ordered me to stay. My plate sat untouched. My mother leaned in, perfume heavy, whispering, "Don't drink too much. Don't talk about yourself. And for God's sake, smile." Then the lights dimmed. Paige's maid of honor grinned and announced, "And now, a special presentation from the Lindon family." The projector flickered to life. Baby photos of Paige, ballet recitals, vacations, slide after slide of her perfect life. I wasn't in a single photo. The music shifted. Playful drum roll. The screen read, "And now let's meet the rest of the family." Paige caught my eye and waved. My stomach dropped. I already knew what was coming. The first slide. My face, grainy high school photo. Bold letters. High school dropout. Nervous laughter rippled through the room. Next slide. Divorced. The laughter grew louder. Then, broke. Someone snorted into champagne. Next, Alone. Paige beamed at the head table. My mother swirled her wine, satisfied. Then the final slide appeared. A cartoon baby with a red X stamped across it. Word in bold, infertile. The laughter faltered. Some guests looked away, others checked their phones, uncomfortable. My sister leaned into the microphone. Don't laugh too hard. She might actually cry. My father added, just a joke, sweetheart. That was the line. My private grief, my medical history, projected in 10-foot letters for strangers to laugh at. I looked down at my phone. The message was ready. One word. Begin. I pressed send. The moment I pressed begin, the slideshow froze. The screen went black. Paige frowned, waving toward the back of the room. Tech issues, she muttered. But Marcus was already swapping her USB for mine. 3 seconds later, the projector lit up again. White text on a dark background, the real Thea Linden. The room went silent. Not polite silence, absolute silence. My father shot up from his chair, barking, "Turn it off." But Marcus had locked the system. For the first time in 16 years, Harold couldn't silence me. Slide 1. Me in cap and gown, diploma in hand. Caption. No one came to my graduation. I went anyway. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Slide 2. My architecture license, framed. Licensed architect, Commonwealth of Virginia. Heads turned. Slide 3. Me on a job site, hard hat, blueprints in hand. Senior architect, Mercer and Hollis. Eleanor Whitmore's hand froze halfway to her glass. Slide 4. My award plaque. Virginia Emerging Architect of the Year. The whispers grew louder. Guests turned in their seats to look at me. Slide 5. White text on black. You called me a dropout. I have a master's degree. You called me broke. I own my home. You called me a failure. I design buildings for a living. I stood from table 14, not rushing, not grabbing a microphone. I simply stood where everyone could see me. My father's face twisted between fury and fear. Paige's smile collapsed. My mother's glass trembled in her hand. The final slide appeared. The measure of a family is not how they celebrate their best. It's how they treat their most vulnerable. I didn't need to speak. The screen had already said everything. But when Harold tried to threaten me one last time, someone unexpected broke rank, and the entire room shifted. The final slide glowed across the screen. The measure of a family is not how they celebrate their best. It's how they treat their most vulnerable. The room was frozen. 200 guests, champagne glasses suspended midair, staring at me. My father stormed toward me, voice low but sharp. Sit down right now or you'll never see your grandmother again. For years, he had used Ruth as a leash. But not tonight. I looked him in the eye and said, that ends here. Paige's smile had vanished. Garrett, her new husband, stood abruptly. Wait. Let her speak. Paige tugged his arm, desperate, but Garrett pulled free. Something isn't right. I want to hear this. The crowd shifted. The energy tilted. For the first time, someone broke rank. I stepped into the center of the room. My voice was steady, not loud, but it carried. I didn't drop out. My father pulled my tuition when I refused to sign over land my grandmother gave me. I was 18, with $43 in a duffel bag. I didn't choose to be alone. I was told to leave. I looked at Paige. Infertility is a medical condition, not a punchline. And you put it on a screen for strangers to laugh at. Her lip trembled. My mother's hand shook around her wine glass. Harold's face burned with fury, but he couldn't stop me. Eleanor Whitmore's eyes locked on mine. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't sipping her wine. She was listening. And in that moment, I knew the truth had reached the one person my father couldn't afford to lose. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I stood in the wreckage of their cruelty and reclaimed my voice. For the first time in 16 years, I wasn't invisible. I was undeniable. And here's the question I'll leave you with. If your family tried to erase you in front of 200 people, would you walk away in silence, or stand up and make the truth louder than their lies?